Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we're going to be talking about a company that I suggest you guys need to buy now. I recently bought 2,000 shares of this company, and honestly, I think I like it more than Workhorse, and that is saying something. I bought Workhorse at $2.84 per share, and today it's hovering around $15 a share, and at one point was even at $22 a share. So that stock made me a lot of money, and I've fallen in love with that company, and I still hold those shares today. But like I said, this company is almost a company that I like more than Workhorse, and that's saying something. So this is the biggest company I suggest my viewers to buy since I suggested buying Workhorse at under $3 a share. So make sure you pay attention. We're well on our way to 6,000 subscribers. That number is just insane when I think about it. We're at 5.9. So if you guys are new or returning and not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button, turn it gray, make it say subscribed, because you don't want to miss out on this journey and making a lot of money together. And like I said, this is my next stock recommendation after the huge success I've seen with Workhorse. And honestly, that success that I saw with Workhorse is what grew my channel to almost the 6,000 subscribers we have today. And I really think this company is going to do the exact same thing for my channel, and I hope it makes you guys a lot of money. So enough jibber jabbering. What is the company? Well, that company is Cleanspark. Cleanspark is a company located in Bountiful, Utah. Cleanspark is anticipated to be an emerging leader in the clean energy and the energy analytics industry. And they're mainly focused on the microgrid. So you may be thinking,
wow, this sounds really boring. Why is this stock going to do so well?
Well, we're going to get into that, so stay tuned. But first, I need you guys to understand what a microgrid is. This took a lot of research and due diligence on my part to truly understand what a microgrid is, what the grid is, and where this industry can go and how it's growing, and just how companies can use this technology to reduce their costs over time, all of that stuff. We're going to get into that today. So yes, all this terminology, it sounds kind of like a boring company. What the heck is a microgrid? Well, in order to understand the microgrid, you need to understand what the grid is. So the grid is an interconnected mesh of wiring that transports energy to homes, buildings, businesses, you name it. All of these wires are connected to a central power source. The central power source is where your coal and your fossil fuels are burned and changed into energy that can be used to power heating and cooling appliances, electronics, everything you need to run a business or a home or just a building in general. So all of these wires are connected. They send the energy to where it's needed, but there's a downfall to that interconnectedness. If, for example, an electric pole catches fire, or a big section of the grid catches fire from a wildfire, almost everyone in that area is going to be affected and without power, because there's no way that the energy can be transported to that area if there is an area of it that is being worked on or it's burnt down or it's just being tampered with. So I think Cleanspark's investor relations page explains this in further detail in a better way. So I'm just going to be reading the overview right here, which I'll highlight. This just goes in. Cleanspark says themselves, around the world, the aging grid is becoming unstable and unreliable due to increases in loads, lack of new large-scale generation facilities. This inherent instability is compounded by the push to integrate a growing number and variety of renewable but intermittent energy generators and advanced technologies into outdated electrical systems. Simultaneously, defense installations, industrial complexes, communities, and campuses across the world are turning to virtual power plants and microgrids as a means to decrease their reliance from the grid, utilize cleaner power, and enhance energy security and surety. So basically what that is saying is we're trying to push way too much of a load onto the physical grid that we are using today. The lights around me are powered by the grid. This microphone is powered by the grid. My laptop is powered by the grid. There's a lot of demand for this grid that was built long ago. Now, this is why businesses and communities are looking at microgrids and virtual power plants to take the load off of the physical grid. In addition to that, using a microgrid allows for cleaner energy use and more efficiency, which we'll get into some more. So, when part of the grid goes down or there's too much of a load and it overblows the grid, this is where a microgrid can help. The microgrid usually operates as part of the grid, but does have capabilities to operate on its own, which is why this is extremely valuable if an area, a business, or a building loses power because part of their grid is down. Businesses that use a microgrid can better analyze their energy usage. They can better be more efficient at what types of energy they're using, when they're using that energy, and how they're producing that energy. If they're producing an excess amount of energy, it can be stored into batteries in the microgrid, which then get drawn on in peak hours so that there is no shortage of electricity. Oftentimes there's solar panels, wind towers, just lots of clean energy sources that are connected to the microgrid. And there's a big push for companies and businesses and governments and communities, everything, to be and use more cleaner energy. I'll kind of have a model over there showing what a microgrid looks like so you can better understand what I'm talking about. A microgrid can be powered by distributed generators, batteries, and or renewable resources like I talked about, like solar panels. And depending on how it's being fueled and the requirements and the load that is being demanded, a microgrid might run indefinitely on its own in island mode. A microgrid not only provides backup for the physical grid that we're using today, but it can be used on its own and be used to cut costs or connect to a local resource that's too small or unreliable for traditional grid use. So if a business wants to generate their own energy to cut their costs, they can do that using a wind tower or solar panels, which generally aren't big enough or they don't produce enough energy to be used on the traditional grid. Microgrids allow communities and companies to be more energy independent and environmentally friendly. So, now that you know what a microgrid and the grid is and where microgrids can step in and help, what exactly does Cleanspark do other than work with microgrids? Where is the money being made in all of this? Well, Cleanspark develops hardware and software and has consulting services for businesses, large and small, that want to reduce their energy costs and be more energy efficient. Cleanspark is also heavily involved with the major push for use of cleaner energy sources. They do that through helping corporations reduce their carbon footprints or assisting in complete modification of their infrastructure. So if a business wants to put up their own microgrid, Cleanspark can help with that, and they do a great job according to their reviews. So why will Cleanspark bring a good return to an investor like me? Well, Cleanspark is gaining traction because they release positive news every 8 to 12 days. Investors love companies that are constantly keeping their investors informed on their business happenings, what's going on in their business. So lots of investors are starting to pick up on Cleanspark and invest in the company. This is a big deal because, as we can see, if we go to Yahoo Finance, we can see that the float on Cleanspark stock is only 9 million shares. That means there are only 9 million shares being publicly traded and able to be publicly traded on the exchanges because, as you can see, 31% of their total 16.12 million shares outstanding are held by insiders. Now, a low float means a very highly volatile stock, which is one of the risks with investing in this company. However, this can also mean a drastic upside because if a huge hedge fund catches onto the technology and sees where Cleanspark is going, they can buy up the entire public float, meaning there would be limited to no shares available to be sold because of how low the float is. So if a hedge fund or a big investor comes in and says, oh, I want to buy 9 million shares of this company, well, there goes the float. There's only going to be so many shares able to be traded, and guess what? That's going to result in the stock price going up to astronomical levels. They wouldn't even have to buy up the entire float. Any big purchase order can send the stock to high levels in a matter of seconds. And that's really why I'm wasting no time getting this video out to you guys so you guys can make some money, because I truly believe this company is going to succeed, especially if we look at their revenues, their net income, their profitability over the next 3 to 5 years. So in addition to that, this is just extraordinarily huge news that was never priced in because of the market crash. On February 4th, Cleanspark announced that they had received an order by one of the United States' largest retailers with over 6,300 stores in the United States. This company ordered $1.6 million worth of ATS switchgear from Cleanspark. It doesn't really matter what ATS switchgear is, but if you want to do your own due diligence, you can look into that, but it's not really important. The number $1.6 million is what's important. In addition to that, the CEO of Cleanspark said that this new order was a result of a successful pilot order, and this order was almost 4 times the amount of the original pilot order because of the success that the original order saw. In addition to that, he says they expect lots of additional follow-up orders and a significant number of additional units purchased by this company during the next few years in order to meet the increasing demand for backup energy solutions. So, we don't know for sure what company they're talking about because of a non-disclosure agreement. However, it's rumored very much that this company is Walmart, and that would be huge to know that Cleanspark, a smaller company, is working with a big retail chain like Walmart. So how do we get to the point where we think it's Walmart? Well, they say they have over 6,300 stores in the US, and they're one of the nation's largest retailers. Walmart has over 11,000 stores nationwide. In addition to that, Walmart has an entire brochure of their approach to renewable energy. They're part of the big switch in transition to using renewable energy with big corporations. So in addition to this, Cleanspark has many projects and partnerships with big businesses. This all starts with the government. They have government contracts. They're in talks with the United States government. If you go to their investor relations page, you can look into this some more. They have contracts and projects with the United States State Department, the Marine Corps, the Army, etc. And they have expanded projects overseas, which most recently was in Costa Rica. In addition to this, we know that Cleanspark has been working with Tesla. This is a big deal because we know Tesla is the leader of the change to the use of electric vehicles instead of a gasoline vehicle. Now, the CEO of Cleanspark couldn't say a whole lot about their partnership with Tesla. However, we should note that this is not a formal partnership. Neither company has came out with a formal press release saying they've been working together. However, the CEO had admitted that they were in talks and had worked with them in the past and are working with them currently. The information we got out of Cleanspark's CEO is that Cleanspark has procured electric vehicle batteries at the supply chain level for their customers. So now let's get into the fun stuff, which a lot of you probably care about more than what I just went over. Let's look at Cleanspark's balance sheet and their projected revenues and profits over the next 3 years. So we know from quarter 1 of 2019 to quarter 2 of 2020, the revenues grew by 1,145%. If you're looking for a small company that's going to succeed, you want to look for revenue numbers like that, where we can clearly see they are finding success and their revenue numbers are continuing to exponentially increase. In addition to that, from quarter 1 2019 to quarter 2 2020, we can see that Cleanspark's gross profit has increased by 465%. Again, that is a great metric. We want to be investing in a company that's either currently profitable or in the very, very near future is going to be profitable. Now, if we look at Cleanspark's investor relations presentation, we can see on this slide, page 14, they expect to be profitable in 2021, which is next year. However, I think they're lowballing these numbers a little bit, and I think they might even break even, if not turn a profit this year in 2020. Also, from quarter 1 2019 to quarter 2 2020, we see that their losses decreased by 77%. This is important because that means that their margins are going to increase over time. And this is also big because if they're finding success and they're getting good reviews on their products, more and more people are going to turn to Cleanspark for their services. And it's probably important to mention that they have a 90% profit margin on their software already, and they have a 60% margin on their consulting services. Their consulting services is where they're making a lot of money. I'm not saying their other segments aren't making a lot of money too, but lots of businesses are going to be looking at getting some consulting services on their energy usage and how they can be more efficient and reduce their energy costs. So they're going to see a lot of traffic, and they already have seen a lot of traffic from Tesla, Walmart, etc. for their consulting services. In addition to that, I should probably mention that they have very, very little debt for a company this small. They have plenty of cash to pay off their debt if they ever get into a pickle, which is also another big deal. In addition to this, Cleanspark has only ever completed one reverse split. That might surprise you, seeing the total outstanding shares. And this reverse split wasn't your typical reverse split to stay compliant because their share price had dropped to low levels. This was a reverse split that they executed in order to upgrade to the NASDAQ exchange. Like I said, Cleanspark is anticipating profitability next year in 2021, and they're seeing exponential growth in revenues over the next 3 to 5 years. 3 years from now, they expect their revenues to be $40 million, which is just insane compared to where they're at today. In addition to that, the microgrid market keeps expanding. Something that a lot of people get worried or worked up about when it comes to investing in small companies like this is offerings. They don't want share dilution. Now, a lot of you guys are going to like to hear this news about Cleanspark. They have came out and said on a web conference that they will never do an offering or have any share dilution unless they're going to acquire a company or drastically speed up their future growth. Now, if they did an offering for either of these two reasons, those are very, very bullish things to do an offering for. I think the markets would view that type of offering as bullish and the share price would actually increase even though there's going to be more shares actively traded. So in closing, that's all I had for you guys today. This was a longer video, so if you made it to the end, you guys are champs. And I really hope you guys make a lot of money because this company is going to succeed. It's only a matter of time. So I suggest you guys buy in now. It's about a $5 stock. It's very cheap, inexpensive, with high potential gains. So if you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below. Comment below if you own any shares of Cleanspark and at what cost you bought them at. With that, I'll be back with another video this week. Peace out.